If you do the same thing everybody else is doing, you're gonna get the same results as them. But if you do something different, unique, unusual, then maybe the rewards that you get and the amount of income that you can generate will be unusual as well. So in this video, what I want to do is I'm going to share some of the most unusual sales and mindset strategies that I've been able to implement for myself in order to get ahead when it came to my sales career and even in my career in general. Now, the first thing we got to cover is this. When it comes to how much you earn and what your potential is, what I've realized in my life is that the only limitation that you have for yourself is actually your imagination. So whatever cap you create for yourself, whatever glass ceiling there is that you have in your head, that is literally going to be your cap. I'll give you a personal example for me. Back when I was in high school, right? I wasn't the best student. I wasn't doing anything that stood out from anything, actually. At the time, I just wanted to be either like a registered nurse or a dental assistant or something like that. Those actually jobs make like decent money, right? But that was my cap. That was what I told myself. I was like, oh, you don't need to go to that much school in order to get this job. It pays pretty well. And that was it. And at that time, there was nobody in my life to tell me any different. So that cap that I put on myself was literally my ceiling. Now, of course, I've gone so much further than that nowadays, but like, had I not changed my mindset back when I was younger, back when I was in high school, that would literally have been my reality. So the first thing you have to realize if you're watching this is that whatever target you choose to hit, sometimes you don't even hit it and you hit lower than your target. But even if you did perfectly hit your target, that is your cap because you don't believe you can do anything bigger than that. So I would recommend a lot of people, especially if you're younger, or it doesn't matter if you're younger, right? Especially if you're just trying to become better, shoot for the highest ceiling possible. That is reasonably achievable, right? So it's not like, oh, I'm going to go to the moon and build a rocket myself, right? But it's like, if you want to make certain income goals and you know that if you do your sales really well and you like just crush it, you work at the right company or you start your own business, that you can actually hit that goal, shoot as high as possible. Because like 5 years ago, I wrote down some of my monetary goals, financial goals, what I want to be doing, how I want to live, where I want to live, how I want to live my life. And a lot of those things that I wrote down like 5-6 years ago actually came true. If anything, when I think back on that time, I should have actually shot higher because whatever it is that I wanted, I probably would have hit it anyway. So always shoot higher because you never know what's possible, especially if you put in the work. Now, the next tip I have for you is that you want to get closer to the money. It's all about proximity. It's all about luck. As I get older in my life, I realized how much luck plays an important role in your life, right? And there's different versions of luck. There's just blind, dumb luck where something just falls out of the sky. You can't really rely on that. But the other type of luck is putting yourself in the right position where opportunities come to you and you just so happen to be in the right position in order to take advantage of that luck. So for example, if you're running an advisory, an agency, a consultancy, and you help people, let's say, make money, for example, with marketing, right? If you have the skills to do it, but you don't know anyone, you don't make any money. But if you have the skills and you constantly go to networking events, or you meet friends of friends, or you happen to just go somewhere to an event and you meet someone and they just happen to want to work with you, you're in the right position because you have the skills and you put yourself out there, right? So it's like having a good offer, which is the skill set, and meeting as many high quality people that fit you as much as possible, right? And for me personally, for my NFT advisory company that I created, a lot of it is luck. It's just people either come to me because they hear me on YouTube, or I meet a friend of a friend. I just happen to meet them, just having dinner, and I'm like, hey, maybe I can help you with that thing. And eventually they become a client. It's literally just luck. It's not like I planned it. It's just getting close in proximity to the money or the people that I think I can help the most. And so you want to think of yourself as like, what skills that you have? What are you developing so that you increase your odds of success? And then how do you get to as many people as possible? Now, if you think about it, dating is actually very similar, right? So like if you're a guy, you want to make yourself as attractive as possible, whether it's how you take care of yourself, your posture, your fashion sense, in some cases, the resources that you have, the status that you have amongst your peers, and how people see you, and all these things, right? And people can get a glimpse of who you are just by looking at you for the first 5 seconds. Now, from there, if you want to meet the right one, it's all about meeting as many high quality people that fit what you're looking for, right? Everyone's looking for something different. The more people that you meet, you're not always going to get yeses, right? But if you improve yourself as much as you can and you meet as many people as you can, eventually you'll find someone that fits, right? So it's literally the same whether it's relationships or in business. Improve yourself, create that really amazing offer that people just cannot say no to, and then meet as many people as possible. Now, the next tip I have for you is actually knowing your worth. I'm always constantly learning this because the value of my time and my skills and stuff keep going up over the years. And I remember I was pitching to a potential client, and then I told them my prices and stuff like that. And I remember this person who told me that he's like, if you think about it, Patrick, you're undercharging. I was like, what? I thought I was charging you like quite a bit. And he explained the reason for why he was undercharging. And I was like, oh, you're absolutely right. In this situation, I should be charging like way more than whatever I charge you, right? So in that particular situation, because my value have went up over the years, I have to constantly keep adjusting my prices and things like that. You got to charge what you're worth, right? Sometimes you might be too afraid to do it. Sometimes maybe you think you don't have the skills, but it really hits you and slaps you in the face when someone tells you, literally someone who's going to pay you money, and they tell you you're charging too little. Sometimes they tell you after because they want a good deal. Sometimes they tell you before because they're a good friend. Whatever the case is, know your worth, because that's going to multiply your income, especially if you're doing the things to improve your skill sets. Speaking of improving your skill sets, that actually moves on to the next thing, which is you got to learn how to learn. This is one of the most important skills I've realized that is the most valuable, especially for me as an entrepreneur. As an entrepreneur, you're basically a professional problem solver. It's your job to solve puzzles. It's your job to fix whatever problem your employee or your teams have, right? Because when they get stuck, there's no one else to fall back on except the CEO or the entrepreneur or the person that are running the business, right? Because your job is to solve challenges every day. And also, if you want to grow your business, you're actually just running into more challenges. Having the ability to learn how to solve these problems is the most important, because you're not going to have the answer to everything. Your goal is actually to identify what the problem is and say, okay, I don't have the skills required to solve this problem, but hey, let me Google it. Let me ask a friend. Let me learn what I need to do now that I understand the problem, learn it, and then solve the problem, and then teach my team how to do that, right? So it's all about your ability on how to learn, and learning how to learn is one of the most important skill sets that I highly, highly, highly recommend. And if you do want to learn how to learn, there's actually a book that I've read 8 years ago. It's called The Art of Learning by John Watkins. You know, he's like a prodigy chess player, but he really gives some really good examples and analogies and explanations on how to actually learn. So if you're looking for that skill, this is a really good place to start. And once you have the fundamentals, then it will make so much more sense. Now, the next tip I have for you is actually more like a health tip, but they'll improve your productivity so much. You got to watch what you eat, what you drink, how you sleep. I mean, it sounds so basic, but I feel like so many like entrepreneurs are getting into this trap of like, I got to take all these supplements and whey protein and stuff, but they don't even take care of the basic foods that they eat, which makes so much more of a difference compared to any supplement. Supplements are supposed to supplement what you already eat. Just having a good diet is very important. Eating the right food, making sure you're not eating like so much oils, like staying away from tap water, right? Because everyone's realizing that tap water has a bunch of chemicals in it, right? Trying to drink more purified water, spring water, stuff like that. Getting 7 to 8 hours of sleep, tracking your sleep. You know, one thing that really helped for me was getting an Oura ring, which I wear every night, which just tracks my sleep, and it helps me make sure I sleep more consistently, get enough hours. If I'm not sleeping that well, it kind of tells me like why I'm not sleeping well, what I did that day, or the food I eat, or if I drank any alcohol. And it's like when you're aware of these things, you cut out all the bad things that are like slowing you down, because it kills your productivity indirectly. The thing I've learned is like a lot of times we self-sabotage ourselves, and maybe things get stressed, or because you're like moving so fast in your business. Sometimes we self-sabotage, we stay up late, we're like, oh my God, like it's so painful, I gotta binge watch Netflix or whatever just to feel some kind of joy. Exercising, eating healthy, and all that stuff, staying away from the things that kill you, super, super, super important. This is more like philosophical, or maybe nowadays if you watch any like YouTube channels, the whole narrative right now is like there's like these secret powers and government that's controlling you, and that if you don't take control of your own life, then someone is controlling you. I thought about that a lot recently, and you know what? Even though it's like very dramatized on YouTube, it's actually true. If you're not in control of your life and you don't control the habits that you have, and you are reliant on other substances that you have to pay money for, somebody is making money off of your addiction. If you don't control your life, somebody else will, and I truly do believe that. So if you get addicted to vaping or drinking, whatever vices that exist, right? Somebody is literally controlling you. There's some marketer that either is a founder of that company or works at that company. They're thinking every day how to get you to spend more money on things that you don't need, to keep you unhappy, so that you have to keep coming back and buying their trash. You definitely want to be mindful of what you put into your body, also what you put in your mind, because at the end of the day, that's the most important thing. And if you master yourself, all this business stuff, all this making money stuff becomes so much more easier, because really the only person stopping ourselves from success is really ourselves. And like I said before, the only limitation you have is your imagination. So at the end of the day, you know, with all these tips, it really all comes down to you. You can go as far as you want to go. It's just a decision on what you're willing to do to get there. And so with that said, those are going to be some of the best tips I have for you. If you enjoyed it, make sure to give it a like, subscribe, turn on notifications. I'm going to see you in the next one.